"What's wrong?" Carmen said. They were on their way home, having finally gotten the hint from empty tables and the waitress who kept glancing at her watch. He hadn't been aware that anything was showing on his face. The earlier mist had turned into a steady drumming of rain, the windshield wiper squeaking at full speed. Nothing. The weather." He attempted a smile, but the glumness was too heavy. "Thinking of Janet?" He gazed at her in amazement. He hadn't wanted to confirm that was what he'd been thinking, but his look was enough. She placed her hand on his leg and squeezed it gently. "It's okay," she said. "It doesn't bother me." He could see that there was more that she wanted to say, some bridge she was thinking of crossing, but instead she looked forward. They drove the rest of the way to her house in silence, her hand remaining on his leg. The van felt smaller, warmer. He wanted her to take her hand away. He wanted her to leave it there. It was something unraveling within him. It was both the best and the worst he'd felt in years. When they reached her house, he put the van in park. She still hadn't taken her hand away, and her face, with the light of her porch behind her, was lost in shadows. He caught just a hint of the whites of her eyes, saw the way they were wide and expectant. His heart beat faster. "You want to come in for a drink?" she said. He looked out the rain-streaked window at her doorstep, then back at her, not sure, hesitating. "You won't melt, Garrison," she said. "Okay." They were instantly drenched. She ran, laughing, to the doorstep. He stumbled after her with his cane, tripping on the step and bumping against her, making her laugh even harder. The rain on the back of her leather jacket looked like diamonds. She fumbled with her keys, her breath fogging. When she turned the lock and opened the door, she smiled at him mischievously. She walked inside, saying she had to get the light. He followed her into a dark living room. He felt as if he was playing Russian roulette, except he was the bullet in the gun, spinning, spinning. Something was going to happen. 5 years was a long time to spend in a spinning gun. He hadn't even known that's where he had been until now, but it was true. He'd been there ever since Janet died. He closed the door, sealing them in darkness. The rain pebbled the roof. He smelled dust and old books and a hint of lemon. "Carmen?" he said. "I'm over here." "I thought you were getting the light." "We don't need a light." Her hand pressed down on his arm. She took his cane and dropped it. It landed on a rug with a thud. She guided him across the room, him following in the wake of her jasmine perfume. His eyes started to adjust. He saw street light rimming the living room curtains, a faint glow coming from down a narrow hall, and the outline of her hair. Her heels clicked on a hardwood floor. His own soggy shoes squished and squeaked. She pushed open a door. There was a pink nightlight in the corner, next to a bedside table. A 4-post bed dominated the room, barely enough space to squeeze around with dressers on the sides and a hope chest at the end. Lace curtains billowed, a cool breeze flitting through the cracked open window. He smelled wet grass and fecund earth and a hint of the ocean 3 blocks away. "Carmen," he began. She kissed him, his heart pounding, the rain tapping on the ferns. Even the smell of her, so close, all vanished into that kiss. Her lips were soft and moist. She leaned into him. Even through their leather jackets he felt the pliable flesh pressing against him. He found his hands on the swell of her hips, just below the hem of her jacket. Her fingers started working on the buttons of his own leather jacket. He felt his body responding. "Wait," he murmured. She didn't stop, her kiss turning desperate. She was working on his shirt now, the first 2 buttons undone. "Wait," he said, pulling away. "Please, I just want to make you happy," she said.